What you are about to witness will contain violence, disturbing imagery, adult themes, and may leave you doubting who you thought you were. Proceed at your own risk.
Hags Hollow should have been named Hagshollow, for the figure it was named after was no hag at all, but a very peculiar hedge witch. Grinsel Thornheart wasn't born a witch, nor in Din. But by the time she built her home in the valley east of Lurching, she understood enough to know her place of hermitage was strange. Flora, fungi, all seemed to grow better here, doubly so for anything with magical or medicinal properties. At first, Grinsel explained this away with just lucky weather and good soil. But by season 12, she knew that even she, in all her worldly wisdom, could not explain it. By season 5, her modest garden had become a thicket. By season 12, it had become a forest. And until then, the oddest Din had ever seen. Peculiar weeds grew upside down, roots exposed to the sky instead of the dirt. Flowers bloomed in bold and bright patches, and large, looming and singing mandrake trees became an alluring attraction for many travellers Din-wide. And Hags Hollow had grown beyond one witch's hermitage into a lively town. It's hard to pinpoint when the mandrake grove began walking. Like the rest of Hags Hollow's curious vegetation, their roots had always been exposed. Locals bickered over land disputes with their neighbours, claiming trickery or blaming the Grovelan, a religious faith dedicated to the grove itself. But eventually the grove had moved entirely outside the town limits, taking their song with them, like a rolling thunderstorm taking generations to pass. The walking wood could be heard for miles, until one day it could be heard no more. Hags Hollow, their prosperity all but strangled by the loss of their magical mandrake grove, slowly became a ghost town, its residents trickling out year after year. Now home to a small set of oddballs, alchemists, and a select few scholars and scientists studying, or worshipping, the new encroaching dark forest spreading in from the south. Hags Hollow is but a shell of what it once was, its heart and soul deserted. A town now hauntingly taunted by its name.
Jude, I might need some help over here.
Leah?
I'm coming! I walk up to Jude and I assess her wounds.
What is the extent of her damage?
I'm very hurt. My legs are very damaged. And I've been laying on the ground, prone for a bit. I think
Okay.
I was raised magically in the air, but I don't know if I'm still have the strength at the moment.
All right. No. I walk up towards Jude and I lay her back on her back and I go, still, be still. I remove my sword from my back and I give it to her to hold, to place, to hold by the hilt, facing towards her feet, as if almost like in a funeral rite. And I am going to try to transmute her injuries into the sword.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for that.
Okay.
You have a special ability, or is it dying only?
It's a special ability.
Okay.
It's
All right.
dying. It's dying, yes.
Yeah. Special ability under dying, but that's all right.
Right. Do I have a shift on this?
You do. You are very close with Jude.
Right.
20 shift.
Okay. Still only a partial success. So, looking at Jude, what happens is that you might have noticed, if you pay attention to the sword that I've been wielding, that it has engravings on it, in a language that no one here truly understands or knows or even has any recollection of. Every single time I've cast using the weapon as some sort of conduit, the runes glow. When I try using it in this way, when I've used it in this way before, the runes glow. And you notice that even though it's not a perfect situation, her bleeding stops, it subsides. You see it almost as if the clock is being wound back. The most grievous of wounds, broken bones, if any, start to unbreak. But as if you hear it, you feel it. You feel that feeling as if the wounds are reopening or reclosing, but then it's gone. No. Be careful, be careful. Still, Jude, still. But you notice that as her wounds heal, the blade starts to glow a bit more. The runes start to emanate more of this golden light. And, I look towards her and I try and assess her wounds now. I mean, for the most part, I feel as if I've healed her. It's just been fairly traumatic. I'm still getting used to this. But I'll leave it in the hands of the narrator and Jude as to how well I did.
I think what I'd like to do is that you're distracted, because it's at this time that some of the lizards technically are still alive. You rush to Jude to help her, but
Right.
2 lizards do lunge, and it is Estrella that stops them. Estrella, could you remind us what it looks like when you slaughter these creatures quite suddenly?
Right. I rush towards these creatures with my 2 blades in hand, and I lunge towards them, and all of a sudden, you see this other image of me, but she's wearing this beautiful cloak. It's almost as if, the stars were plucked from the skies and put onto it. And she's flickering. And in an instant, these creatures are all decimated. Just in a cloud of blood and viscera. And you would see the 2, myself and the other me, standing next to each other. and the other me flickers and disappears.
So I think this maybe distracts you, Lear. And so
Okay.
you do feel like you've healed her. And in a way you have. It's just going to take her some recovery time. I don't want to take that away from you. But I think that's what the partial is. Just that instead of remaining 100% focused on her, you are distracted enough to notice this. And that's all. You still heal just fine.
Right. So her wounds have been healed, but there's going to be some time. You might need to just take it easy, drill instructor. Don't push yourself. There might still be swelling. You might still feel numb. And thank you.
The pain was so real. I thought were there 2 Estrellas?
I think so.
I think
An
my
illusion?
vision must be.
Maybe. I'd like to assess if it was an illusion. I'm not sure if it was something I would know about.
Okay.
Most likely, so.
Yeah, go ahead and roll for it. I believe you have unlocked the Dying Tree, correct? So you have like a knowledge or, arcane something skill? Is that correct or no?
Sort of. I have illusory magic is my main skill in magic, so I could just roll that, I suppose.
You could.
To like determine like for like.
Sure. Go for it.
Success.
Estrella. I'll let you answer that.
Yes. It is indeed some sort of an illusion. I don't think you would really understand exactly how I would possess something like that, especially given like the amount of prowess with magic that you have seen so far. It's definitely strange, but it is definitely some sort of illusory magic.
I frown towards Estrella and then but tear my eyes away and continue looking at Jude and making sure that Jude is okay, first and foremost.
Also, just to remind everyone, and by everyone I mean those watching, Titus turned into a spider, and he is crawling up Raz's arm at this point, right? You just are going to sit on top of Raz for a moment?
That is correct. The plan is to try and heal Raz's wounds as he fights the rest of these lizards.
Well, they're all gone. Estrella killed them all.
Well
So
then,
none
I begin
remain.
to crawl over Razroth, bringing little bandages or spider stitches across Razroth's body using spider silk.
Perfect. Go ahead and roll for that. Oh my god. He is very, very wounded. So you just rolled a 22, which is doubles, critical success. One of the best critical successes you can get, actually, because it's 11 is the only one that beats it. Which means Raz is healed nearly completely. Let's say completely, because it is doubles. So what happens? What does this look like?
I begin to move so quickly around Razroth's body that this spider a spider the size of a cat, is moving so fast it's almost a gray blur around Razroth's body, and I'm just pulling stitches all along him. And by the time he's done, he was kind of sinking, sagging, bleeding profusely. And now you notice kind of a change in his posture as he's fully brought back to health.
He opens his mouth to thank you, and then is gone. Popped out of existence in a familiar magical light. For some of us, anyway, we would recognize it as the apprentice. And a note appears in its stead, floating down slowly to the ground, which means, I believe, Titus, that you fall. But you're a spider, so you're fine. But you would fall basically 6 feet, because you're up on his shoulder, and then you fall down to the ground next to this little note.
I take a good gander at it to see what it says.
Can you read in your spider form? I mean,
I like to picture it as I take my vocal cords and through magic, I transfer that into actual human English.
Can
so
anybody hear it, or are you doing it telepathically?
I'm doing it telepathically.
Ooh. Okay.
So to normal people, I just sound like some weird giant spider cat, and to friends and allies alike, I sound like me.
Okay, well, in that case, you may read the note aloud if you so choose.
I pick up the note with my little spider pincers and scurry over to Estrella to read it. And it says, Grabbed Raz. Hags Hollow will have guards. The rest of you should be fine. Get what info you can and then meet at the eastern entry to Pardland as soon as you can. Be careful and vigilant, as always. And I sort of hop up onto her shoulder and drop the note into her hands.
So you're doing that telepathically. Does everybody hear that, or just her?
I think they all would hear
Okay,
it.
perfect.
Or at least I would submit the signal to all of them.
Wonderful. Please
And
continue.
I'll just hold up the note towards everybody.
What? Again?
I mean, when he comes back, he might have some useful knowledge. Maybe. What has Raz
How
got to do
dangerous
with Hags Hollow anyway?
That's what I want to know.
Considering the current climate, I suppose, in general, he's not really too good to have around people or travelers.
I
I
look to
see,
Leah.
so I
We
look
also
back.
probably still have some things to talk about anyway.
Okay.
Would you like to rest here? Or would you like to push forward a bit before you rest? Or not rest
Before
at
we
all?
go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go anywhere, I must jump off of this sand stair ledge that I created during this fight.
Yes. That magic. Thank you for remembering.
So I lift I'm very exhausted. Everything hurts. Which I think will actually help with the impact, because I'm gonna kind of be dead weight a little bit. And I just drag myself up to the sledge and jump down. Ooh.
I'm going to need that sword back, the drill instructor. I see that she's gotten up. She's still holding it, and
Of course.
As I reach out to grab the sword from her, there's a bit of an extra sort of like a inner glow coming out of it, and almost as if, you know, when you touch something after like you've been statically charged and you zap it. I feel like there's a bit of that happening between us, and as I grab this sword from her, it's strange. The sword itself feels almost twice as heavy as it once was. I suppose a cost for using it in this fashion. But as that happens, that jolt gets surged into you, Jude, and that pain, that sluggishness that you felt momentarily almost seems to dissipate entirely. And I nod at you and I sheath the sword back.
I don't remember that being part of our lessons.
Well, I have a few
Well
tricks
then.
up my sleeves too, I suppose.
Yes, good.
I think my expression here then kind of stiffens. I look back to Vega, who gave me a look before, and what was that about?
I just look to Leah. I'm sure won't be a problem, right? You're under the radar. Nobody knows anything about you.
So it would seem.
Maybe,
At any
maybe we
rate,
should
I'll put this
disguise
back
you
on.
up. Yeah.
Okay, how do we do that? How would you do that?
It's hard to say. I don't really know much about Hags Hollow, to be honest, only the...
I don't really know much about Hags Hollow.
Right.
Just the rumors that I've heard. It's a very strange place. Very strange. Magical even, so using magic to try and disguise you, maybe that's not the best thing.
Okay.
I'm sorry, just to clarify. We all saw Titus turn into a spider a second ago.
Yeah, what's the big deal?
The spider is speaking.
Well, the spider has a name. It's me, but sure.
Surprisingly, not the weirdest thing to happen to us on our adventures so far. But
Two
it's up
Strayas
there.
and a spider. Titus, okay.
We should find somewhere to rest and talk about this. I think these bodies here are probably more likely to attract other predators than they are to keep us safe.
Right. Perhaps we should stack them or something, leave them in one place. That way, if predators do come, they go there instead towards us, no? I'm no survivalist.
I think I have an idea. Narrator, how tall are the bones of this creature that was left behind?
Oh, it's you mean the Dalamur and its rider companion?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, Dalamir are like horse-sized or small, in between a pony and a horse-sized peacock type mount. So essentially, it's about that big, and then nestled up in the center, as if they were laying together, would be the bones of a 15, 16-year-old human.
Gotcha. Well, we could rest here. I could make us some hammocks in between those bones, and then I could hang the corpses of the lizards from somewhere else. That way, if there are predators around, we know they're coming.
I think we already had this conversation about desecrating the corpses, right? Maybe.
Yes. I forgot what I was saying.
Right.
But perhaps we could have luck with a similar idea somewhere else.
Sure.
Yeah. Are you alright to push forward a little bit? We can have you on the Dalamur for now.
Me? I'm fine. Yes, I'm fine. I'm feeling much better, actually.
All right.
Everyone else all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks to you.
I did nothing.
Oh, come off it. You know you did something. You were all incredible, actually. It was incredible watching you all fight.
It was pretty spectacular.
And with that,
But Astrea, I have a lot of questions.
oh yes, me too. But with that, our heroes continue onward. They will be following the canyon, desert, but it used to be a river. So I think, imagine as they're doing that, I think there's probably a feeling of heaviness, not quite sadness or despair, but just the realization that their pathway that they walk along used to be something that, kept the world alive. It now protects them from the heat during the day and the immense cold at night. Finally, you find a place to stop and set up camp. So one of you should have the ability to put up the campfire. Oh, I already have it on the scene. prepared and ready to go. Amazing. Is that okay? Where you would like to be? Is everybody okay being in that section? If not, just go ahead and move yourselves. Oh, Raz is not
Fine by
here.
me.
I will fix that.
And that's where Raz would go if we had one.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Whoop. Now there are bones of other creatures as you walk along. This one would have been a fish in the river. So you see a lot of that as well. But yes, you set
I
up
see.
camp and you begin to rest, probably just as nightfall is beginning.
All right. Nightfall.
That's right.
That would.
Sorry.
No, please go on. I was just thinking aloud.
Estrella, that's an interesting bit of magic you have there. Could have sworn there were 2 entire of you. Where'd you learn
Yeah.
that?
I know you can do magic, but that was, something else.
I know you probably won't believe me, but that's never happened before.
So how did you do it? What?
I don't know. I barely understand magic in general, as it is, right? So I wasn't hallucinating. There was another one. But it wasn't
Yes.
it wasn't me. It was
So you weren't even sure you were doing it yourself. That's incredible. Interesting.
It was dressed different. It wasn't like,
Yeah, no, they were. They had a cloak. A fancy looking cloak as well. Looked a bit like my staff, actually. And I hold out my staff, which is the one that Erithir created for me, which is made of star stuff.
yeah, it certainly didn't seem like a pure glass reflection.
Not by a long shot.
So did you feel it? Could you control it? What were you doing? How did you notice when it left?
it all just it happened so fast. I just saw you all getting overwhelmed by them, and I don't know, I felt this need to be more than I am. I don't know how to describe it. But
Interesting.
Did you call on yourself to help? Like, more than you are you if you were more?
yeah, I guess so. Ever since I was young, before I became a ward and what have you, things were not easy at all. It's really alone. It's really bad. And I used to have this imaginary version of myself that I would hold up on a pedestal. And she was the answer to all my questions.
Come play.
She was my friend.
Are you my friend?
Well, you know how it's easier to have faith in other people?
Sure. Every day.
It's kind of like that when things get really bad, or if I feel like I can't do something. Like I need that extra edge, or I need that bolster of belief. I guess somewhat meditate on it. I don't know. It's strange.
Estrella, for what reason were you chosen to become a ward for Razroth?
I'm not exactly sure myself. I think, well, I've always been gifted in combat. I've always been gifted with, well, magic, albeit not in a sense where I'm very good at controlling it, so to speak. That's why Razroth ended up having these stones made for me. Why they're in my sword. Or swords.
Could I-
see.
Could I look at them?
Yeah, of course. Here. And I'll place them in front of the fire so that everybody can see it.
And I just want to look at these stones that she's mentioned, and I'm assuming they're like a conduit sort of for magic.
Yes. So I think you're familiar with the Dine Stones, right?
I think I must be at this point.
Yeah, I think so, probably too. Okay, so Dine Stones are relatively rare. However, both sets of crew here would have had the resources to procure maybe a few. But just so that those watching understand, it is incredibly rare to see these. They are either conduits, or sometimes they are almost like restraining belts. So sometimes people who do not have control but have a lot of explosive power will use these to kind of rein that in and make it somewhat more tolerable or reasonable for them to handle. Most people, however, are using it to amplify. I'm trying to be very careful how I describe this, because it's not just making magic stronger. Magic is already that strong, but it is allowing them to control it in a way that it would make it more powerful or more focused for them to do so. Focus, pretty much.
Right. You can do something on a small scale very acutely and then make sure the stone makes it a larger effect.
That's right. So you might remember back to the lecture about, taking your magic down the mountain and either just, dumping water down there or going very precisely and hitting all your target points. That's what this stone essentially does. And it is made out of Dine, which is where Din got its name. And those are the stones from the sky. And they're very rare because they're not necessarily found in the earth that you know of. Most of the stones have washed up.
Can I get a sense, like an echo from these stones as to like how Australia's been using them?
Ooh, you can try. Go ahead and roll for it.
I guess I'll just do a regular dine roll.
Yeah.
Do I get a shift because Australia and I kind of have a connection?
Yes, I love that. Lawyer me. 10. 10 works. I was actually going to... Let's do 20 because I was going to give you 10 for your time with Eru.
Ooh.
So.
Partial success.
So I don't know if the sheets are doing the math.
Oh, okay.
So why don't we go ahead for this episode and do the math before I double check? So that would make it a full-on success, if I'm reading that correctly. Okay, thank you. So, Estrella, I'm going to let you describe how you use these, and if I need to fill in or step up and help, I will do so, but I'd like to see what you think.
Well, in terms of how Estrella would use them from a mechanical standpoint, she channels all of her energy into these pieces of stone within the sword, right? In order to kind of act as a focus of sorts. For her, though, the way that she's been using it is to tone it down and to control things more. from what you could tell from anyway, regardless of anything from your interactions with me, Astray is not the most stable in general. She's very chaotic, just emotionally. And with that, it makes sense then that her magic would also, in turn, be that sort of a way as well.
Feels familiar. In a strange way. Have you ever fully unleashed anything you're capable of before?
Yeah. I once destroyed most of our garden.
And just to clarify, by our garden, you mean the entire garden of Bringard, correct? Just so people aren't envisioning a tiny little backyard plot. This is the entire garden of Keep Bringard.
Yeah, that was really bad.
An outburst or just...
I guess so. I guess you could say that. Yeah. I was trying really hard to control myself, and it was frustrating. Very frustrating.
Bet you did it. Were you learning to before these stones, or were these what held you in place?
I tried for a while. It took a lot of meditation, a lot of that same thing that I talked about with kind of placing that trust within that other version of myself, because it makes it easier, I guess. I don't know. But then that whole situation happened, and well, that's when Stone showed up soon after.
Showed up? They presented themselves to you, or did someone give them to you?
No.
Or...
No, it was a gift from Razroth.
Makes sense. Interesting. Because for me, you've always seemed quite controlled, but I can see that takes a lot of effort for you to get there.
It's painful.
I wonder if this illusory self is like a manifestation of your self-conscious, or your subconscious creating somebody who can fight for you.
2 blades, 2 stones.
You've conjured up this perfect version of yourself who fights harder, makes the right choices, does everything you think you fail at doing. And they come to bat for you when you need them.
Yeah.
Be like the ultimate focus. We should try experimenting with that more. That could be fun. Although it seems like it comes out in your time of need, so maybe... There has to be ways of doing that in a controlled environment, right? That's what I've had to do all this time. Take everything that I want to do and just bring it back down and figure out how to do it over and over and over again. Jude can tell you how many times we've had to sit there and just do the same thing over and over because I just want to do anything but. But I'm sure you've had the same lessons.
Well, it would be interesting to learn about, I guess, but what type of magic even would this be considered?
Well, it seems to be illusory, but people mistake illusion magic. They think illusion magic is just making people see something that isn't there, when that isn't the case. If you get good enough at illusion magic, You are creating, you are making something in the world that is so real that people, I mean, they can die to it. It's not an illusion, really, for most people, it's reality. And that's what that was, really. That was a reality.
I suppose under those circumstances, what is an illusion then? Could we be illusions?
You know, I had this argument with Erifir over and over and over again the time that I spent with him. What is real? If you can create an illusion so real, you craft it into your mind, how can you trust anything you've ever known? Anybody you've ever known, your past, your future, how can you trust any of it? If you can create something, I could have created all of you right now. How would I trust myself enough to know?
I suppose if you're powerful enough, what does it matter? If it feels real and it looks real, then surely it's real, no? What is real?
The comfort that you find in the other Estrella, that's real. She was there for you when you needed her, and continues to do so. She matters.
The way I see it, illusions on so grand a scale would take so much power, so much focus. To imagine all of you as individuals doing your own thing all the time, I can't imagine how much effort that would take, how many years of planning and preparation. You couldn't just do that on the fly unless you were incredibly powerful.
I look at Vega and then Jude, and I say, all I know is that even if I'm not real, you are. Both of you. To me, I feel like that's enough. This got all too philosophical all of a sudden, didn't it? I turn to the spider beside me, and I say, I suppose enough grilling Astrea. Since Razroth is not here at the moment, I'm going to pass that question that I asked Astrea on to you. What made you become a ward? How and why were you chosen?
My parents knew pretty early on that I was going to be a ward. I remember sitting in our little cottage, and I was always so hyper, more hyper than I am now. And they thought it was just a big appetite, right? I could eat for days, weeks. I was like the rubbish bin. Anything you put in front of me, I'd eat. There was a day in particular where we were having dinner and I was eating my usual 3 fair shares. And very slowly, everything around me was floating. And for a moment, time just stopped. This look on their faces, this pride, it was scary to me. Not because of what was happening, but because of what was to come. I didn't want to leave my ma and pa. But I guess we don't get to choose our duty, right?
I suppose not.
I think I still would have. But it would have been nice to have a choice. The whole spider thing didn't really come until I started the train. Originally just push and pulls. Those were easy.
And this so-called spider thing, what is that? Heritage? Or something else?
Well, early on training with Raz and Estrella, we realized that my blood has something in it. I remember me and Raz were brawling once, and he'd been complaining all day that his eye was bothering him. Blurry, for whatever reason. I said he slept on it wrong, but he argued it was something different. And I remember Raz just landing this left hook in the right spot, and I spit directly into his eye. And he felt better. He said his eye had felt the best he'd ever felt in his life. So then we started to investigate and do a little research, and apparently some wizards, mages can transmute their blood into magic. That's often why before a spell I need some sort of sacrifice, a bite on the hand, saliva, what have you. And then
I see.
I learned how to do this. And I do a little circle as a spider around him.
I recoil slightly. I mean, he is still a spider. And I retort, that has to be the most interesting story I've ever heard from a spider before. Well woven. So, you don't have any family with this ability of yours? You're the first.
As far as I know.
I see. Well, Raz is lucky to have you. And you, Estrella, of course.
Have you ever tried transmuting into anything else? You always
That's a
just
good
been a
question.
spider?
Why
Other
spiders?
creatures don't seem to work for me.
What happens?
Well, Raz and I realized there was a connection between all this when we started looking at how blood works and how blood works specifically in spiders. Spiders can move their blood through their veins effortlessly. And we figured out that's where I get my push and my pull because of this pressure that's built up inside of my blood. And maybe that link between blood and magic and me being able to do this, it's all in there somewhere.
I wonder if we created a whole new creature that could use their blood in a similar manner, if you'd be able to transmute in the same way.
I never thought of that.
Might be worth looking into.
You could
if we
make
ever get
your
the
own
chance.
creature up.
Right.
Right. I wonder. Now, here's a question I've heard before from my present company. If you could be any animal, what would you be? But I think that door's much wider open for you. You could literally go, I want to be parts of this with parts of that, elements of this, all within this same sort of mechanism. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but that's something to think about, no?
Oh, I already have my answer.
What's that?
I would like to have a snake's venom on a line with wings. But
I
I'm fine
see.
being a spider as well. I also just wish I could be this, but huge, massive,
No,
the size
thank
of a
you.
house.
No, thank you.
I guess one of the paws would be a pincer then.
Like some majestic manticore. Interesting. I look to my wards. And, well, I already know why. I wouldn't even say I picked you, but I feel every day it's rather the opposite. But since we're sharing, Jude, maybe perhaps you could recall to them, what is it you do? How is it you do it? Why are you my ward? I think now more than ever we could use this information to maybe perhaps help us going forwards, working together.
I believe that my value has always been in my consistency. Stability, training,
Modesty.
well, is that not all it is in some regards? It's a commitment and deliberate choice every day. You make a choice every day. In everything you do. And if you don't make a choice, you're still making a choice. So I just choose a version of that where I'm in control of as much of the outcome as possible. In terms of what I can do, I must be frank, up until recently, I thought I was pretty stalwart in my clean, simple, fair magic. I was never a brilliant caster like Vega or you, Lear. I'm a stone. But as of recently, I feel there may be more options for me yet to find something that makes sense for me.
I have a theory. I mean, there's a reason you're the drill instructor, you're the tactician, you're the person we can rely on to make all the plans, and yet every single time you make a plan, you always seem to just know. You always seem to know the right direction to go. And you can say it's preparation, and it's everything you've ever learned, and everything you've ever been taught put together to make informed choices, but I don't think it is. I think there's something more to that. I think you have a sense for what's going to happen. You have a sense for intrinsically understanding so much that you don't even need to try. You just do it. You just know the right pathway to take, the right course of action to take. And you might argue, well, why would I get hurt if I know what's going to happen? Well, maybe that's because that's the only course of action that means the most positive outcome. You know, we spent a lot of time training in divination, trying to see what's going to come forward so you can use it to affect the now. And I think you've had a knack for that all along, you just haven't known what it was. It's just a part of you, so fundamental that you just don't even need to think about it. You just make good choices.
You know, I felt it. The way you describe her, that's our Jude. I turn to Razes too, and I say, with Jude you'll find the most steadfast companion you could ever ask for. Modest as she may be, she is truly the anchor of our team.
Focus.
Correct.
All right, I think that's getting a bit too exaggeration now.
I don't think we're exaggerating enough.
Just watch us. I suppose that just leaves you, Vega.
I mean, it's hard to talk about. I mean, I've mentioned it to you, but it feels
Well, I
like
know.
a sin. I know. But I never wanted to be a ward.
Well,
You're not alone in
Because-
that.
It was Lear and Jude that made me change my mind, decide that I wanted to do this in the end. But I didn't want to do this. I was quite happy, you know, I had my family. We had a bakery. And I started doing these strange magical things, not knowing how or why, but knowing that I wanted to keep them hidden. I'd heard what they did to the kids who showed talent. They took them away. They never came back. They went away, they trained. They weren't the same when you heard about them years later. I didn't want that. I was happy. I had my family. I had everything I could have needed right there and then. So I hid everything that I learned. I hid it away for years. And then one day, I don't recall what happened, but my parents were accused of something to do with the keep. Somebody thought maybe they'd tried to hurt some of the people inside the keep. They'd maybe poisoned some of the goods they were trusted in the castle to provide. And they lost a lot of their privileges, even though they denied it. Even though we knew they were innocent, they hadn't done anything wrong, but they lost a lot of their identity, what made them who they were. So, even back then, I knew the only way to curry favor would be... The only way to help would be to use what I had. Help them get back on their feet. We all know that the wards are treated differently. The family's set for life. So I let it happen, and I started training. I made a scene, showed people what I could do, and ended up with these two.
And what's your definition of a scene?
Well, I went into the middle of the town, and I don't recall quite what I did, but there was a fountain. It was very messy, and a lot of people were very angry at me. This was before the drought, before water was even a concern, I suppose, so didn't matter too much if I flooded the square, but I don't know. That was a nuisance as well. Those first few months of training, I was a pain in the ass.
that you were.
I can't imagine you were very good at hiding it, because all I've known of you is an inability to hide.
I suppose once I realized that I had no choice, if I wanted to help my family, I decided there was no point in hiding anyway.
There never
But
is.
until that point, yeah. I think you're right. I know that now. I mean, what was I hoping to do? Just pretend I couldn't do anything for the rest of my life? And sometimes I still wonder what it would have been like.
Oh, me too. They used to take me to county fairs and I'd win all the eating competitions. That would have been a nice life. I wouldn't have minded that. Just the kid that can eat a lot of pies. It's a good life.
You should have tried my mum's pies. Maybe
The
you
best.
had. Who knows? They traveled a lot.
It's a nice thought.
I was grateful to become a ward. Ward life is a better life. For me, anyway.
Well, if it is any consolation, I am more than grateful to have you.
Consolation. There you are, quite stupid sometimes.
Guilty.
Wards have beautiful lives because of the family that we've been given by you and by Raz. I can't imagine it's easy for either of you. There's a reason that we are with you, and the fact that our existence is a necessity is difficult, I'm sure.
Would that such a life could be given to everybody. But I suppose duty is duty.
Is it a duty, Lear?
Well, that I've thought long and hard about. Well, my life, really. What is it that I do that somebody else couldn't? You, Vega, you had to prove yourselves time and time again. But I trained, but I'm nowhere near as capable of either of you two. I was simply born into it, you know?
I've trained you your whole life, and I disagree.
You'd be doing Jude a disservice to say that by now anyway.
I
You've been
know.
training Gunter Jude all this time and you're still nowhere near as good, then Lear, come on.
Frankly, if I'm saying it,
I mean...
I'll never forget this.
From an outside perspective, if I may.
Of course.
The amount of love that you have for your wards, that ferocity, it's palpable. From the minute we met, I could tell what your intentions genuinely were. That's why I let my guard down so fast.
There's power in duty, I suppose, but there's greater power in love.
Well?
And, you know... It's taken a while, but... I love these two.
There's also one more thing. You talk about how Jude always knows what to do. The two of you. But you are so quick and creative in your responses to these things that happen to all of us. You are... You could make something out of nothing, it seems.
Well... I mean... Not out of nothing per se, but I'll take that as a compliment, I suppose.
Of course.
I guess we all have our strengths.
And speaking of our strengths, I'm going to take first watch, and I scurry off into the darkness and try to hide my spider-like body.
Yeah,
I hope he doesn't get used to that.
He's got to work on it a little bit. He's not as good as me at sneaking around, it seems, even in his spider form. See his outline there?
Right. It's
the legs are
terrifying.
uncanny. Yes.
Please still scare away anything that comes our way.
One
I
can
should
only
hope so.
Mhm. Well, shall we get some rest then? Long day of travel tomorrow.
Way ahead of you. I've got some training to do in the morning anyway. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
No, Estrella. Not you.
Oh.
I just have some questions for you. Follow up for your whatever we're calling what you did. I need to know if you're thinking about it at all before you go to bed. What you're thinking about it. I know you told them how you did it, but I didn't hear how it made you feel.
Well, I always have this stream of consciousness kind of going, and it almost feels like it's a conversation.
Between
it's just the
you
two-
and this other Estrella?
Yeah, it's my voice being echoed back at me, and it's just an internal dialogue, and it gets worse when other people are around because it's one of those things where you have to constantly juggle what everyone else is saying plus what they're saying, and then what you're thinking that these people are thinking about you plus all this other stuff, right? So I guess I'm just thinking about all of that, and I'm trying to kind of isolate my own actual voice, but it's hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand it.
It doesn't scare you at all?
Well, I mean, things you don't understand are terrifying.
Mm-hmm. But this isn't to you for some reason. Am I correct in that? Or does it scare you?
I think what scares me was the capability of what just happened.
Ah,
Because
yes.
I've never had control like that.
Mm-hmm.
That was intense.
Now, was that your control? Do you feel that you were in control in that moment? Or do you feel that this other Estrella showed up kind of without you?
Guess there's no way to really know.
No, there's no way to know, but how does it feel? Do you feel like you were in control in that moment, or do you feel kind of like you were scared something, Raz was really fucked up? And did this savior show up? Or did you summon the savior? Is really, I think, what I'm asking. How you feel. I don't need to know if you know the answer.
Asked.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
So you asked this other Estrella for help.
Yeah.
Okay.
She just showed up.
And when you are getting ready for bed, are you thinking on this at all? Do you speak to this voice? Do you hear anything?
I think that my biggest question is this something that that whole dialogue of whether or not this is something that I could potentially actually control, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I'm getting any sort of a response.
Follow-up question, just because I'm incredibly curious. So for me personally, when I'm sitting down and I'm thinking through things, sometimes I find myself answering myself in my own voice. Is it similar to that? Where you're thinking your thoughts and like, oh, I wonder if blah, blah, blah. And then your voice
you can
comes
do
back.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it answers for
Yeah.
you, but you feel a separation. That voice is other Estrella. Do you have a name for this other Estrella, or has it always just been other Estrella?
Well, I always kind of thought I was talking to myself, just this kind of version of myself that I could rely on more. You have an image of yourself, and other people have an image of you, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you fall short of that image of yourself, it's quite crushing, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I think I've never really thought about to be
Okay.
honest. But I think as I've gotten older, there has started to be some sort of a separation. I've started to feel this companionship with, with Razroth and with Titus, and albeit the situation with Titus is not the best, he's always believed in me, and so is Razroth. So it's been good for me, but now it's like there is this dialogue with this other person almost. It's like I don't recognize her as much.
Do you know who gave you the expectation that you always fail to meet? Was it you or was it someone else?
That is a loaded question.
You don't have to answer it. I'm just enjoying this dialogue and very curious.
I think a mixture, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody does have these expectations of you, some variation when they get to know you. As a kid,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I didn't really have anyone.
So then
We're talking about how they had their parents and these people beforehand, right?
I don't know why it's doing that. Sorry, everybody listening. It goes into chipmunk for some reason. We'll have her repeat it in just a second. So then your expectations for what you think you should have been, or for this other Estrella, were you? As you gave those expectations, or do you think your idea of what a ward should be also provided those expectations?
I think it's also an interpretation of what because you know how you're always wondering what this other person thinks of you, right?
Yes.
I think it's an interpretation of those thoughts. Some of them have been verbalized, others have not, and it kind of compounds into this one big amalgamation of, this is how I should be. And these things that you notice about yourself that are weak, or that, I wish I was able to do this. I wish I was prettier. I wish I was funnier. I wish I was more likable, right?
So this Estrella has all of these things to you. This other Estrella.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm just wondering where these unrealistic expectations came from, this perfectionism, because I think I'm curious to know if it came from some archetype of what you thought, I don't know, maybe a storybook of wards prior that you modeled these expectations after, or was it more that you, every time you thought or felt like you failed, you went, I should be able to do this, regardless of previous wards or anything else anybody may have told you?
Definitely the latter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is this Estrella that I'm talking to right now feels, and by these standards will never be good enough. Only this other Estrella that you have created, which is still essentially yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. How does watch continue? I know that Titus is taking first watch, but then after that, how does it proceed?
I think that I would like to take second watch, whether or not I'm woken up, because these knuckleheads being wards and duty might take it away from me, so I think maybe I'm sleeping lightly,
Okay.
keeping an eye out for this spider.
All right. I actually think you're all sleeping pretty lightly, if I can say so, just because of everything in the chaos that's all happened. Unless somebody wants to say that they are in a deep sleep, I'm just going to give you all the benefit of the doubt. That, this is, to me, it makes sense. This is the first time 3 of you have ever been out like this before, so it's uncomfortable and not familiar, and You just had combat, so I think everybody's kind of half awake. So everybody can roll their observe for me with a 10 shift. Titus, the 66 failure doubles is to hide.
That is correct.
Okay, just double checking. Go ahead and roll again to observe. Oh! What? No! No!
That is insane.
For those listening, he just rolled the same thing. 66 failure doubles. Oh my god! Okay.
Punish him.
Narrator.
Yes.
So my stat for observation is 27.
Uh-huh.
I rolled a 29, which is partial success, I guess. I'm not sure what, but then the shift is 10.
Right. So that makes it a success. That is correct.
Right. Okay.
Did anybody else succeed?
Partial. for Vega.
Okay. Partial for Vega. Failures are fine. I am going to address Titus's double failure because that's a big deal. All right. So I will start then with Vega and Lear.
I succeeded, yeah.
Yeah. So Vega, you kind of feel like you're not alone while you are sleeping. Whether this alarms you or not, I leave up to you because it very well could be how you've always felt since you've become an apprentice. I don't know. However, Lear, you definitely know something or someone is watching you sleep. Titus,
Okay.
when you wake up, Titus, you have no clue as to what has happened. But for those of us watching, the failure means Titus is the reason this thing found them. Not only could he not conceal himself, but he's completely oblivious of said thing. Maybe he's too...
I have a decent idea, narrator.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say it's your 8 eyes, and you're not used to trying to keep watch with 8 eyes, but go on.
So I picture it as I have found a nice cactus or a bone or something around the campsite that I can gain a vantage point from.
Okay.
And from the lack of hydration and from the whole cave thing that went along only a few days now back, I am still just out of it. So I climbed to the top of this cactus, and for whatever reason, I think in my delirious state that holding out all of my legs will make for good camouflage. And in doing so, I end up tumbling over and splatting onto the ground, injuring some of my eyes, hence why whatever this thing is, it has spotted us.
Okay. That sounds great. I like that. I love it. So night will pass. Nobody else really knows what has happened other than Lear and Vega slightly. Now, earlier I said nightfall, which is habit. However, if you all remember, myself included, right now the sun is not setting in Din. So it will go low on the horizon and stay there and then rise back up. So everybody's kind of had to put blindfolds on so that they can sleep throughout the night. Or throughout what should be night. So now we have, quote, daybreak, unquote, and everyone is rising. Lear, you will notice that this thing that is following you continues to follow you throughout the day. So if you choose to say something right away, then we'll start there. But if not, then I'll travel you guys along a little bit further. So everyone can come back now if you like.
Is it just me, or does anybody else get that feeling in the back of their head that they're being watched?
No, I definitely noticed something.
Really?
For a moment, it felt like someone was walking over my grave, that shiver down your spine. But I think it's more than just that.
Where did you last see it?
Well, that's the thing. I haven't seen it. I just feel it, this almost like a combat sense, like it just makes me feel as if I need to be on guard. Like a paranoia almost.
Looking around, do we see anything within, any of the natural landscape?
Well, not really. And I'm going to assume, because this is just how Estrella is, I'm going to assume you climb up the edge of the thing and look around, right? Because you guys are in what used to be a riverbed, so you've got, tall walls on either side of you made of dirt and crusted sand. So Estrella nimbly, because this is her bread and butter, man, she nimbly climbs up this edge and stealthily peeks over to kind of look and check out the landscape. And I think it's at that moment, Estrella, you realize as you have been traveling, you have reached the edge of the old wood. Are any of you familiar with the old wood?
I think Artrea would not be.
Okay. What about you?
Just only in research.
Okay, what do you know of the old wood, Jude?
I know that whisperings and readings of, I suppose, of things of it being dangerous, not wanting to go there. People getting lost.
Yes, yeah. Anybody else? Estrella, Titus, are you familiar with the wood? If you are, I can just go ahead and explain if you don't know as a player.
They were, it's close to Oracle, yeah? Or close-ish?
Yes. So the old wood has been slowly creeping north for generations. And it's come from far, far away. And the deeper into the woods you go, the scary, more dangerous and disorienting it will become. So, for this reason, anybody that is traveling around it will do just that. And that's travel around it, never through it. Now, it has been slowly moving and slowly creeping up onto the Oracle. However, when it reached kind of the border of where you would consider the Oracle, it just didn't spread to the Oracle. It ended up spreading up towards Hags Hollow and lurching. So it's sort of, you're on the edge of it, and it is seeming to be, creeping its way up towards Hags Hollow. So you are very close now to Hags Hollow and the edge of the old wood. And
yeah, I feel as if I would have been curious. I wouldn't have gone too deep into it, I don't think.
No, of course not.
I would have definitely stayed on the outskirts and tried to see what I could see.
Yeah.
Way back when.
You know what I just realized? That's absolutely correct. Of course you would have, because last time you were here at the Oracle and you looked out from the top of the mountain, you would have seen the creepy, and when I say the old wood, I mean, it's probably when you think of a haunted wood, this is it, man. It's scary. It's got, mist and fog and weird creepy colors and weird sounds. At night, it makes this horrific howling sound. Sometimes you'll hear what seems like human distorted voices. Now, while you were sleeping last night, you weren't quite to the edge where you would be hearing this, but you are approaching that. So you're going to try to skirt around it and head directly towards Hags Hollow, but basically it's going to be on your left as you walk forward. So you're going to be kind of walking alongside the edge of this creepy wood. But when you were last at the Oracle, you would have looked out and you would have seen that the wood probably wasn't as far as it is now. But if you were to be back on that mountain now and look, it has moved and creeped ever forward.
Well, this is not where I remembered it from last time.
What isn't?
The old wood.
It does seem to be moving faster than scholars estimated. Kind of like global warming.
The old wood. I've heard Jude talk about this before, but is it any danger exactly to us?
I don't know the specifics exactly, but there's a lot of really bad things apparently in the stories that travelers have told. It's creepy. Back when I was on Oracle a while back for that pilgrimage I took, I stood up on top of the mountain and I look down and it radiates some sort of cursed or otherworldly kind of everything, I guess.
When she says that, I try and concentrate and pick up that strange feeling that I've been getting since coming back. That feeling of wrongness about
Yes.
the magic, and try and pick up, see if it feels any concentration here.
Oh, you don't need to roll for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what's incredibly strange. So also, I should note, I don't think you're quite there yet, but I'm going to leave it to you guys to role play it. But at some point, the closer to Hags Hollow you get, the closer to the border of the next ward you will get. And for those listening, wards are like states or other countries. You'll be able to see that the other ward has water and things are green. And right where the border of Din is, everything becomes desert. So because it's flat now and you have really no woods once you get right into Hags Hollow, you'll see that. But for now, the old wood is blocking your view, and that's weird because the old wood shouldn't have any water either. It shouldn't be alive. But it's, for lack of a better word, thriving in its weird, creepy evilness. Everything's still twisted and dark and very moody, so it's not lively and lush and green, but it is still very alive without the water.
I
You
see.
can avoid it.
At all costs, I think. But, that does not explain to me why I feel so deeply that we're being watched.
I mean, what do we know of these woods? Are they sentient? Do they make choices?
Well, everything that I've read is that people get lost there. And some have speculated that they get lost as a result of the wood's will.
So I think it's imperative then that if these woods approach us at all, we stay as far away from the tree line as possible. We do not want to enter the wood.
Yes.
Agreed.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So you decide to travel alongside. We're not going in. We're basically staying on this river. And you know, geography-wise, that this river would have taken you all the way up to Hags Hollow. So you can technically follow this all the way and be kind of protected on either side. But the wood is basically to your left as you follow it. As you continue on, you'll notice that your mounts are getting a little uncomfortable, maybe a little restless. You might have to kind of comfort them a little bit as you're walking along this wood. But eventually, Lear, that feeling of that presence is almost overwhelming. And I don't know what you would do, so I don't want to continue. What do you would you speak up more so at this point?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Although I think if I do start feeling uncomfortable that we are being trained upon, I'm not going to make a show of it, make whoever is watching us know they're being, that they are,
Right.
their presence is known. But I am going to speak up to the group. I'm going to say, okay, it's imperative we don't look around, but I feel it in my gut. Something is watching us. Every single time I look forwards, something in my periphery just... Be on your guard. Maybe we should close up. Come closer. Ease the mounts up.
Lear, you go in center.
Okay, I'm not overreacting, am I? Because I...
No. I know you. You wouldn't.
Maybe there's a way I could look and just see if there's anything out there that we can't see. I I'm going to essentially like magnify the sense of eyesight. I'm going to take a pair of eyes and bring it closer to the woods and kind of get like a 360 view almost of everything that's going on around it. But what I'm actually doing is I'm taking Erifir's sight from when we were together that whole time, and I'm using his eyesight to look into the woods and give me what I need to see.
Shit, okay. All right, go ahead and roll for me.
Which would be...
You can have a +10 because I think you're doing this to protect people you really love and care about, and they're standing right next to you, so that connection will give you a bonus, which you know now, having studied
and that
under
would
your
be
fear.
Debt magic, so yeah. Okay, +10.
Oh, that's a 2. That's success. Oh my god. Okay. So I think you just see it. Now the question is, when you're doing this, what does this look like for you? Because you're using his eyes, but is it coming through for you? Or is it like a kind of a third person perspective?
I think even as I'm doing this so that it's a group shared thing, I would create the illusion in front of me of what we're seeing. So I'd create almost like a projection of everything the eyes are seeing right in front of us. Whereas for me, I'd be standing there and my eyes probably would roll back a little bit as I'm trying to like concentrate on what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
And then I'd be letting everyone else view.
Wow, that's cool.
And as you're doing that, I think everybody is looking around left and right maybe for a moment before you realize the voice was coming from very low in this picture that Vega is kind of projecting of the landscape. This probably the oddest creature you've ever seen here in Din will be standing at the edge. So probably when you see this, you will then look with your own eyes because you see it is standing on the ledge of this embankment where the river used to be, staring at you. It's standing at a whopping 3.5 inches tall, so roughly the size of a potato, for those of you unfamiliar with that measurement. Holdrkin are very tiny, extremely hairy fae folk. All right, and Din is unfamiliar with anything other than human beings that can speak and talk. Obviously, there are lots of cool, crazy, magical creatures, but this is the first time you would have ever encountered anything like this. They have wings that are akin to dragonflies, and these wings work like solar panels. They're collecting the magic around them. However, we can't see magic. Well, you can't. And so you can't see what would be the gossamer sparkling membrane of their wings, only the veiny, pulsing branch-like stems that come off their back. This Huldra has wide eyes, a droopy, bright red and white spotted mushroom cap hat, and a coat with more pockets than coat, each stuffed to the brim with... You can't quite figure it out, but it's interesting. She's holding the reins to a holder hare, which we might compare that to a Flemish giant rabbit. Its saddle and saddlebags are made of some sort of spongy fungi, also filled to the brim with belongings. She has wild green eyes, wide with excitement at the sight of you, although she also seems slightly wary of your presence.
Whereabouts is she?
She's standing on the edge of the embankment, like any closer and she could have, snake would bite you kind of expression. You just didn't notice her because she's so small.
Oh, okay. I think I'm going to stumble backwards out of shock that this small thing has a voice. Like an elephant seeing a mouse. I'm just going to go and maybe fall backwards over like a root onto my ass. What is that?
What is that? What are you?
What are you?
What are you?
I looked at my wards and I go, what is that?
Is there something in the air?
What?
Are we all high right now?
Well, yeah, I mean, technically there's a lot in the air that you can't see.
lots of magic floating around. I mean, that's why we're here, why I'm here, why my family's here.
Have you been watching us the whole time?
What does that mean, the whole time?
How long have you been watching us?
Probably... I'm not very good at math.
Okay. Did you watch us sleep?
Yes!
Great, okay.
That would explain it. The eyes.
What?
Who are you?
Eyes? My eyes?
Sure.
Oh.
I just felt a presence is all.
Oh, you felt my presence? Are you
Well, I
magically
hope it was
inclined?
yours?
Yes.
You must be
we are.
very good with magic if you could sense my presence.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment, but
Oh, you should.
still, who or what manner of creature are you?
I'm, Kinnison Bogforth Weltenmeyer. Nice to meet you.
A pleasure to meet you.
Right.
This is what you
Pleasure
do,
to-
right?
Sure, I
walk over
Please,
and
it's all
kind of
I've
give
ever
like
wanted.
2 fingers. I'm Vega.
Hi, Vega, that's it?
Yeah, that's it, Vega.
Oh, okay. That's a little weird, but all right.
I stick out a pinky finger and offer it and shake.
And I look at Jude and Lear and like with warning eyes, just like, don't tell them your full name.
Right. My name is Lear.
Lear. Okay.
Right.
Again, weird, but okay.
What's so weird about a short name?
You don't name things or add to your name once you fall in love?
Add to your name once you fall in love.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you fallen in love?
Well, lots, but we only add to our name twice. We add the kind of like the place where we were born, and then we add the first thing that we pick up, hold, claim as our own.
I see.
Mm-hmm. And then we have our parents and where they were born. So our father and our mother, and that's the extent of the name. So, Kinnison, I claimed a dog. That was my first thing that I claimed was a puppy. It was 8 times my size. I couldn't
Did
take
you
it
get
home
to
with me.
choose? Or was it just whatever you picked up first?
It's just whatever you pick up first.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's fate, right? You wouldn't pick it up if it
Right.
wasn't yours.
What do you mean by claim exactly?
It's... you don't claim things?
It depends on what you mean exactly by claim. I feel like there might be a bit of a cultural sort of thing
Right.
going on here.
Oh,
Right?
well, it's kind of like this. I claim a thing, which means that it's my duty to protect it, care for it, nurture it, and it's mine. And nobody else
Okay.
can protect it.
And where is it?
Mine?
Yes.
Well, I couldn't technically claim it because it was, multiple sizes too large. It wandered off. But it's with me in spirit, and I with it.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
You see me take a sigh of relief almost. Okay. What's the name of your rabbit, if you don't mind me asking?
Harry!
Perry.
I
Adorable.
notice Lear's sigh, and I aggressively hop from my Dalmir onto Rhea's shoulder. And I start to chirp in her ear in spider telepathy. Say, how is it that the 6 of us almost got massacred out there, but this little thing on the back of a rabbit is fine?
That is a very good point.
You say you're here with your family.
Oh, yes. My entire family. We've
And how
been
big
traveling
is-
for quite a while. Couple generations for us. I don't know what that is for you. How long do you
Traveling-
live?
I have so many questions.
So do I.
I mean, how can I tell you how long we live if you have no concept of time?
I have a concept of time, but I just don't have a concept of your concept of time.
Okay.
Do you know what a day is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, when we used to have those, 300 of those odd used to be a year, I suppose?
Okay.
Right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And, well, using that new metric, I guess you could tell us, no?
We've been traveling for approximately 50 years, then? 50 of those?
From where to where?
Oh, well, we're heading to the Oracle, but first we have to make a stop here on the edge of the Old Wood, because the flying machines that we're building, we have to use some of the magic from the scary Old Wood to make sure
The
that...
what?
What?
Flying machines?
Yes. We're getting the heck out of Din.
Huh.
Uh-huh.
Why is that?
You haven't noticed?
Is that the only reason why you're getting the heck out of Din?
Well, yeah, we'll die eventually.
So where are you going?
I don't know. That's the adventure. Wherever the magical currents take us.
You said you were
So
going to Oracle, though?
Yeah, we plan to take off from Oracle because it's a pretty
Right,
high
it's high
peak.
point.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
But
What
there's
are
no
your people
guarantee
called?
of where you're going to end up.
No. Do we need to? Sure, there's a
Suppose not.
vast expanse out there. Surely there's a place where, you don't get nauseous when you wake up in the morning. Oh, and to answer your question, I'm from Bastion's Bulk.
Bastion's Bulk.
Mhm.
Is that a city or town full of folk like you?
I guess we had what you would have called a town. We used to live on the mountainside. Up at Bastion's Bulk.
Would we narrator know of Bastion's Bulk, or is this something in their tongue?
No, it is technically something in their tongue, but I think I will let you roll to see if you can try to figure it out, or...
Okay, I have a historian
Yes.
skill, I suppose.
Yep, add 20 to it.
Add 20, it would
Yeah.
still be a failure. I got 99.
Holy shit. Okay. For some reason, you know what? I don't like this because you literally have a skill that's historian. So there's no way you wouldn't know there's a ward called Bastion. So it's
Okay.
probably somewhere in there. I won't give you any specifics because of your failure.
Okay.
But it's probably somewhere in there. Actually, I have to, because she literally said we lived on a mountain. It's probably the huge mountain range that spans along Bastion up until the edge, actually, of that ward. It might even go further.
see.
I'd have to look at the map. Yep. So, I don't know what this failure means yet, but it's going to mean something. But it doesn't make
All
sense for
right.
me to say you don't
Everything
know it.
comes at a cost,
Yep.
narrator.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Why is it that there are no records of folk like you? Whatever you might be, no offense.
What's the fence? Is that tall thing that always gets in the way?
Sure.
From the food in
right.
the garden?
Well, we have none of those were intended in the context of conversation to get in the way of becoming friends.
Oh, I know what that means. And okay, I claim you.
And she runs up and will kind of off the cliff of this thing. She'll use her wings to kind of float down to you, and then she just kind of attaches to your leg.
You can't just claim a person.
Yes, I can. So I think that technically means I'm Kinnison Bogthoth Weltonmeyer Lear.
Kennison Bogsworth Wellington Maya Lear. Okay.
And let me give you something in return. And I fumble through my pockets. There are so many, although I would technically just call them a pocket because everything is a pocket to me. So let me just get it out of my pocket. And I pull out something. Please go ahead and roll. Just a regular D100.
Okay.
Discover what magical item you receive.
I rolled a 14.
Ooh. Okay. Do you want something that will aid you, or do you want something that will aid others?
Others, always.
Always. I thought so. Okay. So I pull out of my left pocket, but to me, it's all one pocket. I pull out of my left pocket something that would look to you, probably, or those watching, like a bottle cap. But I don't think you recognize what this is, Lear. Ha! My most prized possession.
Haha.
Its name is now Lear. You may take it.
I bend down and I accept it.
We're friends now.
Friends.
Yes.
I look at my wards with this look of perplexion, amusement, bemusement. Just, I suppose this is first contact in a way now.
I just shrug at him.
If you're going to be friends with Lear, you should get to know the rest of us as well.
Okay.
I'm Jude.
Hi, Jude. I'm Kinnison
You may have
Bogthoth
claimed me, but
Weltonmeyer Lear. Nice to meet you.
Wait, is there a limit on how many things you can claim, or can you just keep claiming things?
I mean, technically, you can just keep claiming things. But really, you want to try to limit it to the most important things. But I'd say this is the most important. I've never really talked to or encountered anything like you before.
well, likewise. And you may have claimed me, but these two here, well, I've claimed them.
Oh. So then it's Lear, Vega, Jude?
It's a lot
Sure.
of names.
Got it.
But my
For
name
one
is
so
Leah
little.
Vega Jude.
Got it. Okay. And what about you two? Is that your mount? I'm pointing to the spider.
Why do I get the feeling this thing is immensely powerful, Rhea?
Are you thinking that out loud? Are you projecting that to the world or just to Rhea? Because this whole time you've been projecting it to the whole party.
I think that I'm so flabbergasted that I slip up. And this little creature can understand me.
I know how to use magic if that's what you mean. I'm pretty good at it, I'd say. Not as good as my mom, Tinmeyer, Button Bash, Runefield, but I'm pretty good.
So what kind of things do you do with your magic?
Lots of things. Right now, I'm supposed to be collecting things for our flying machines. But you are way more interesting. Actually, do you mind if I look at that? I think I could probably use that. And what about the feathers from the big birds? Do you think I could have some of those?
No plucking them, but if any fall off, you can have them off the floor.
Yes! Thank you. I really only need one. I can duplicate from there.
You what now?
You can duplicate.
Can't you?
With great difficulty, I imagine, maybe, but
Where do you duplicate it from?
What do you mean? I just make a new one.
I
Using
hop
what?
off of Rhea's shoulder right in front of this little rabbit.
Hi.
Could you duplicate me?
I mean, I don't see why not. Although there could be some complications.
Like what?
Well, I'm literally creating a second one of you. You might try to kill each other.
Yeah, this is not a good idea.
What would you do
really
if you saw
shouldn't do that.
yourself? You know?
Really, really shouldn't do that.
Because I'll tell you, a long, long time ago, we tried this. Kinredrick Soup Spring Guppy Swamp did this. And they argued for 2 whole, I think you call it years, as to who claimed what. Because technically, they had the same name and they claimed the same thing. And so they argued over what was theirs and what they were supposed to guard for 2 years. Madness.
Huh.
I wouldn't want that to happen to you. That sounds terrible. You wouldn't even know who you were. Is it
But you don't
so-
need to pull from anything to do this sort of magic?
pull from anything? What do you mean?
Make an equivalent exchange or...
Well, everything comes at a cost.
Okay.
What are your costs?
Well, it depends on the thing that you're trying to do, I suppose.
Can you bring water to Din?
Oh, I'm not touching that. I'm getting out of here. I don't think I could do that. Something much bigger than me took it from us. Or you. I guess technically yes. We've been here.
Do you know who it is?
No.
Who took it?
No.
What about the magic in the woods?
Oh,
Is it
the old woods?
different?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It makes us sick, so we're having a pretty hard time collecting what we need, but we gotta do it. So the strongest of us are the ones out scavenging, and the sickest of us are staying safe in Hags Hollow.
That's where
Makes
we're
you
going.
sick.
Hags Hollow.
You're going to Hags Hollow, and yes, it makes us sick.
What do you need? From the woods?
Well, we need the wood. We need magic wood. And then anything like leaves or feathers that would help us, take flight. And we're going to try to make a few like flying brooms, flying machines with little shell buckets. And then we're going to rest in those shells. And then I can show you the plans if you like. If you're interested.
I am
pass a
very interested.
Okay. And I pull out my plans, which keep in mind, they're very tiny for me. So you'd probably have to get close or squint to take a look. But you see these very intricate flying machines that will be made out of magic wood, shells, kind of like acorn shells or maybe even turtle shells, and some hot air balloons as well. And it looks like they plan to have the hot air balloons behind these flying machines, and then the flying machines will guide a series of hot air balloons behind them. And it probably goes like flying machine, hot air balloon, flying machine, hot air balloon, hot air balloon. So you get the sense looking at these plans that her family's quite large. Like, probably 2 cities worth.
And how old do the plans look?
Very old. That's a very good question. She's been traveling for quite a while. I've been traveling for quite a while. Sorry.
Do they look older than when the drought hit?
Oh, yes.
Is what I'm mostly curious about.
Oh, yes.
So they've been planning for a long time.
Hmm.
Huh. I see.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we need. I can walk with you to Hags Hollow if you like. I mean, I'm pretty full up on my stuff anyway. I gotta go on back. I'm lying. I have
Very well.
so much more room. I just want to continue traveling with you if that's okay. Please don't be mad at me for lying.
I look to Jude on this one.
Yes, we can all go to Hags Hollow together.
Okay,
Well,
that sounds
you heard
great.
it from her. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. What does that mean?
You know, it's an old saying from where I'm from. It means welcome to the group.
Welcome aboard. I like being aboard. Thank you.
All right. My pleasure, I'm sure.
I'll just be back here. And I
Okay.
scramble away, unlatch myself from your leg, and then I scramble towards the Dalamir. I'm being very respectful. I'm not getting too close because I don't want to spook them, but also I'm waiting for the instant a feather falls.
Right.
Yeah, not a moment before.
Exactly. I don't want to offense you. Right?
Right.
Got it.
Right.
So seriously, if I asked you to, you could duplicate me in this form, correct?
I mean, yeah, I could. Like I said, you could be arguing for 2 years as to who belongs where and what belongs to whom.
And if I asked you to do such a thing, what would you want in exchange?
Well, I don't want anything in exchange. Lots of Dalamir feathers. And maybe some of that cloth. It would be really nice for our balloons and flying machines.
Okay.
You want me to duplicate you?
Why don't we get to Hags Hollow and then I'll decide, but I'm on to something.
Okay. What does that mean? Because to me that means you're literally on something. But he's not on anything. Except for the ground. Does he mean he's on the ground?
I think he means he's latched onto an idea.
You can latch onto ideas? Oh my god.
Some would
You're
say you could even
amazing.
claim them.
Oh my god.
Except
Wow.
instead of putting it on your name, you put your name on it. So maybe it's
we do
claiming
that
you in a
too.
way.
We do that too. Like, if we go to a magical place, like that's where Bog comes from in my name. Because because we'll do our migration, right? Like we spend the spring up on the top of the mountain, and then in the fall we go down to the bottom of the mountain, and I protect and guard the bog. And so there's a tree that has my name, Kinnison, the tree, down in the bog. So we do that too. That's it. I just got excited, sorry.
I see.
I'd like to see it one day.
Oh. Well, I don't think I can take you. We won't be
That's
going
okay.
back that way.
Very well. Then, in which case, on to Hags Hollow.
On to Hags Hollow!
Alright, it's just this way, right?
Uh-huh.
Kinson, Bogsworth, Welton, Meyer, Lear?
Wow, you got it.
Of course.
Well, I mean, I'm just impressed because your name's, Lear Vegajude. But before, it was
Right.
just Lear. Oh, I thought it
Well,
might
I'm
be too
learning.
complicated for you.
If his name's Lear Vegajude and you have his name in your name, does that mean your name needs to also be Lear Vegajude?
That's way too complicated. Are you crazy?
You're right. That's, of course. That's silly.
So while I'm watching your creatures here to see if any of these feathers fall, do you think you could keep an eye out for anything else that I could use for my flying machine?
Of course. What do you need?
Lightweight the things for the structures, like wood, or maybe even hollowed out bone, but it has to be magical. Because if it's
Okay.
not, then that's pointless. Because we have to basically ride the magical current. So everything that we put into our machines has to be magical. And if you happen to find anything just kind of like on the safer side of the old wood, great. I don't want to get too close if I don't have to.
Very well.
You seem riding the magical current. Can you see it or feel it or sense it, or how do you know it's there?
Yeah, I can feel it, can't you?
Maybe.
That's where the wood is following too, I would imagine.
That's the way the wood is going.
Yeah. I mean, I would. That would be my guess if I had to make one, which you did just force me to do. So that's my guess, I guess.
Does it seem smart to go in the same direction as the old wood?
Well, last I knew, old wood couldn't cross an ocean. So
Is the ocean
can't
that way?
catch us.
The ocean is that way.
Well, I mean, the current is going to lead us over the ocean, yeah. We're going
I
to
see.
take off from the top of the oracle and Are you not familiar with
Right.
your own land that you live on? What do
We
you protect? What do you
are,
guard?
but possibly not to the same level of perspective, so to speak, as yours.
Okay.
I
well-
guard Lear Vega Jude. That's who
Oh.
I guard.
Oh, I see. You must be very important. To each other, I mean.
I looked at the ground with, I suppose, almost like a guilty expression on my face when she says that.
That is a very big honor. For us. Claiming another.
Right.
Okay, lead the way!
All right,
I'm gonna continue
This
my
way?
little march. Now, you might find it a little strange that I can keep up with you despite how tiny I am, but I do get on Perry my mount, which is, a very giant rabbit,
mm-hmm.
and we hop alongside the Dalamir, and I'm waiting for a single feather to fall. Does somebody want to roll to see if any does for me? Just a regular D100 is fine. Anything above a 50, we'll say, does not. Below, yes, I get a single feather. What is that?
26.
I get a feather! Okay, whose Dalamir dropped the feather?
I want to say it's mine since I volunteered the feather, so it wouldn't
Right.
be fair for me to give someone else's.
Okay. What does it look like? Remind me.
So Jasper is very sleek. It's black with an orange undertone under the top side.
Wow. Okay, so you probably won't ever get to see this. But just so we know, those listening, and me and my family, our entire fleet of flying machines will be this color of beautiful feather because I have taken back this Dalamir feather and I'm going to duplicate it and I'm going to use it for our flying machines. So any other creatures or even humans, really, if they're looking and they look up in the sky, they would see this fleet going by probably in, I don't know, maybe a decade. We'll see.
Adorable.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Okay, off we go.
Are any of you doing anything else? Or should I take us to the edge of Hags Hollow? And are any of you looking for stuff? Or are you just continuing on?
I would quietly be keeping an eye out for anything that might be of use.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, me too.
Oh.
I've got a cautious eye on our companion.
Mm-hmm. What does your cautious eye look like? Just so I can figure out how she interprets this.
All right, well, let's say I'm riding along on my Dalamir like so.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then, just,
I see.
yeah.
So I'm interpreting that like, we've kind of sort of claimed each other and you're guarding
Right.
me like you're supposed to. So it doesn't offense me at all.
Okay.
I am taking stock of if there's any changes in the shift of like the magic in the air, that sort of thing, to see if they are subtly doing anything magical, or casting anything.
Ooh, to see. Yes.
I want to see if they're trying to influence us or anything like that as well.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and I'm gonna have to ask you to roll for this.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Partial
partial
success?
success. Okay. So I think I described it for everybody watching and or listening, but I think that you can figure out as much as you'd like about the fact that her wings are like solar panels. They're collecting the magic around her. However, it does seem to be painful when this happens for her.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And is there any particular school of magic that I get, like, the sense of, like, any flavor that I would be aware of?
Everything. All of them, all at once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
To her, there are no schools. There's just magic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping my eyes out for any puddles of water that might be left over from the old wood, since, we're living in a drought.
Okay. Wow. Go ahead and roll for me. You can do observe or you can do something in dine. It's up to you.
Observe. I'm gonna do.
Okay. 42 success. You do find some.
I immediately leap from my Dalmir into the puddle and start.
Okay. So to be
Chugging it.
clear, this puddle is going to be right at the old wood. So it's not going to be here in this safe little spot that you're in. You're going to have to get up and scuttle towards the old wood, which is fine. I just want to be clear that you are going towards the evil, horrific forest I
Yes.
just described. Okay. And you're going to drink it. Are you
Yes.
going to collect anything?
I'm going to save a reservoir of the water in my spider mouth and then scuttle back after
Okay.
I've had my fill.
I need 2 rolls, my sweet. I need you to roll a conceal. You can have a plus 20 shift because Kinnison Bogfoth Weltenmeyer Lear is very focused on the Dalamir feathers right now, and she can't stop you from making potentially the biggest mistake of your life. 42, success. She has no clue. That second one, conceal. Oh, wait, no. 42 is for the observe. Conceal. 83, absolute failure. I think she notices you go up, but I think somebody's got to roll a D100 for Bog. Bog thinks that you are dutifully going and looking for things for her, like she asked you to do. So she's just going to watch you kind of like scuttle out of you, and then you go and you do that. Second roll I need you to make is dine flat, please. No special skills. No shift. 11. Partial success and doubles. Oh! Okay, we'll have to talk after the cams go dark and the episode is over. Okay. Amazing. Thank you. Is anybody else doing anything else? While we
I'm
walk.
on target, I think, so I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
Are there like broken branches and things hanging out around the old wood, like
At the edge of the old wood, yes.
at the edge? Yeah.
I mean,
Super close to the edge.
One of those things where you could get close enough probably to grab a branch that to her would be like, massive.
Yeah.
But
Does it have magic if it's on the ground? Like if it's dead?
I don't know if you know that. That's a great question to ask. Do you ask, Bog?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, it's better to get it alive, to like snap a branch, but that's so dangerous. I would definitely not recommend doing that. I mean, but if you were super brave and you felt like doing it, I wouldn't stop you. Although maybe I would, because I might feel a little bit guilty, because I've sort of claimed your claimant? Claimee. What? I've claimed who you've claimed. So, does that mean you've claimed me? Also?
I think yes, it does.
Then I definitely would not let you do that, because it is my duty to protect you. So, just dead ones are fine. Thanks for asking.
How dangerous is it to go near?
Honestly don't think
wild-
you know, because you've heard
No,
stories of people getting lost, but that's it, right? I will leave it up to
Who's
you.
gonna get lost right at the edge, though?
Well, I don't know.
You know?
Like, who would get lost at the edge of the wood?
This is the worst. Hey, I'm wondering if maybe I could grab a stick at the edge of the woods.
For
our
what
frontier.
purpose? For them?
Yeah.
I don't trust that wood. I know that this little fellow is, sprightly, and we've never seen one quite like them before. However, that seems like it might be risky.
Is there something that we could do with magic? Maybe pick it up with A gust of wind?
I wonder. This seems like an awful risk.
What if we were to blow a large gust of wind through the wood towards us?
I
Do you
look
think
to
we'd be able to
Vega to see if she is in accordance with Jude. If
I look
both of you are in the
wary.
same mind, right.
Suppose the problem would be not knowing what else you might blow our way.
Well, I mean, our arachnid friend just went over to the borderline and was fine. Maybe we could ask them to do it again, no? I take it we saw them leave and come back, right?
Oh yeah, he totally failed that conceal. He saw everything.
Right.
Oh, you probably also saw him grab the water.
How far away was the tree line from where we are? From our little convoy of Dalamir?
Maybe a football field? Do you
We
know what
didn't see him do it. It's a puddle. It's like a cricket pitch.
All right, that's fair. I was going to give it to you, but I appreciate that. We don't have inspiration, but you may have Widdershin. I'll remember. Don't worry. It's
Okay.
essentially like inspiration in D&D. So, if something goes horrifically wrong, you can roll again.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I ask Titus, would you mind? I hate to use your form or exploit it, but are you capable of spinning a small bit of silk and dragging something along with it? Maybe a twig or something.
I, with a full mouth of water in my reservoir, start to look for a vial in Estrella's bags or on her Dalmir's saddlebags. And if I find one, I'll spit into it and say, yeah, I could totally do that. And I scurry back off and try to find a stick or something that Jude might want for our little friend.
Go ahead and roll, please. Holy shit. Okay. What do you think you bring back? Keep in mind, it's gotta be for a flying machine, but you can get creative.
I find a very large but split hollow acorn.
Oh, that'll be a perfect little bucket for me and my adorable little Perry.
And I scurry back up and place it on Jude's shoulder.
Thank you, Titus.
Yep.
Does anybody
Right.
do anything else? Or shall I take us to the edge of Hags Hollow? I'm assuming, like, if anything were to jump out, or, you know, if I were to suddenly turn on you and try to kill you, you would do something. But if nobody's going to do anything currently right now, then I will take us to the edge, or I will tell you what happens next.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Surprise, I don't try to turn on you, even though some of you might be expecting that. I do not. And nothing else seems to jump out at us. I think the old wood gets a little bit creepier when we get closer to Hags Hollow, and we start to see a little bit less of it the closer we get to Hags Hollow. But we do reach the edge, and then I stop, and I say, okay, well, I'm not going all the way in to Hags Hollow, because they're weird in there. And, you know, they might eat me, but you're welcome to go in there. Although, if you want to come say hi at any time, just head kind of that way over there, down to the left, right twice, and then down and left again, and you'll see a very big old wood tree that we kind of have captured right now, while we kind of harvest from it. So you can come and see me before you leave to wherever it is that you're going.
All right.
Okay.
Well, it was nice meeting you.
It was very nice meeting you. Have a good journey. Safe home.
And you, until next time, Kennison Pogsworth. Welton Maya Lear.
Until next time, dear Vega Jude.
I wave my little tentacle and say, I'll definitely come find you before we leave.
Oh, yeah. If you want me to duplicate you, you just let me know.
I think I do.
Okay. Suit yourself. Bye. Be safe.
Bye.
Don't get killed or eaten or squashed.
Likewise.
I'll try. It was
So
nice
will we.
marrying you.
What? What was that?
Bye.
What did she say?
It was
I believe
nice
she said it was
marrying
nice.
you.
Marrying?
Yes.
Did you?
Looks
What
like you
did
won't
you
have to
agree
find
to?
a bride if you take the throne, huh?
I didn't realize that I was going to witness such a beautiful day until I thought it was a long time from now, but
I suppose
Shh,
congratulations are in order.
Shut up, you two. Shut up.
Congratulations.
beautiful
Oh, but I'm
couple.
free to continue. I like that. That's good. Good to know.
It's amazing.
Let's just get on with it, shall we?
I'm schmutzing.
Like you did your marriage?
Hello. Hi. Which episode is this? 19, you said, right, Mercs?
19, yeah.
19. Episode 19. Who wants to go
Crazy.
first? Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the married man should go first.
Why did I know?
They always finish first.
All right then. Hi, my name is Meyer. I played Lear Van Blakeguard or Leah Vega Jude today. Wow, what an episode. I mean, like, this was a lot of fun. Just getting back into the main storyline. You know, getting along with, you know, what was a really ridiculous fight. Being able to, you know, use my sword for, you know, like the, I suppose the penance and reprieve healing thing that I've been working towards doing now with extra debt magic to kind of like make it go full circle. It'll be cool to show you guys how that evolves from here on end. Is it here on end? Is that, have I made that up? Anyway, like it'll be cool to show you guys how that works in the future. I have some ideas for it that I've been thinking about for a while. But yeah, I love today's episode with of course the addition of what was it, Kennison Bogsworth, Wilton Maya Lear. That was beautiful.
Technically,
Like,
she doesn't know this, but just for those of you watching, technically her name would now be Kennison Bogfoth Weltinmeyer Lear Blakeguard, but she doesn't understand how we do things. So technically
okay.
that would be her name, but right now, yes, she's gonna go around calling herself Kennison Bogfoth Weltinmeyer Lear.
I can't believe you've lied to
Bogfoth.
your wife. You've been married for what, 10 minutes? It's already full of lies.
well, only up from here, right? Yeah, but this words. That's me. You can find me at twitch.tv/Meyer where I do what's so funny?
Just, I'm the same way, man, and I'll be trying to speak and I fail, and then I'm like, words, okay, bye, and then I just take us out.
Twitch.tv/Meyer, where I'm doing, Star Citizen stuff, following the development of that game, as well as RP things on Red Dead Redemption 2 Wild RP server. Been playing this new game called Dark and Darker. It's in like beta or something. It's D&D meets Escape from Tarkov. It's weird and cool. But yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, I'll be doing that. You can find me doing more of that on my channel. Until then, Vega?
Hello. My name is Leah. I am Vega. And yeah, today was good fun, as always. It's always enjoyable. Thrusting magic upon everything that doesn't need magic. And yeah, I saw someone in chat say that I need a staff, and I'm very tempted to buy a staff now. So,
You know what I did for my wizard character? I got a walking stick, and it's dope as fuck.
I might have to do that. I was thinking of just going to the park and get a stick, to be honest.
Look at this shit.
Ooh.
Dude, it's so cool looking.
Ooh. That is cool.
Although
It's
There's like a
I imagine
full-on walking stick, like
Yeah, it
a
is.
store in London,
Yeah.
actually.
I
Yeah.
You
paid
could even
an old
add like
woman.
a little orb or something to the top of that too,
you
if
really
you wanted
could.
to.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, you're absolutely. I'm gonna do that now. I have to do that. Also, although I imagine that yours looks something like what I would imagine to be like rose quartz or something like that, or how do you imagine that it looks?
I imagine it's like obsidian, to be honest, with like tiny sparkling points of
What are those?
tiny gems.
Shit, there are stones that look like space. It's not moonstone.
Oh, they're like my favorite. I don't
They're my
remember the name,
favorite too.
though.
I have one in my wallet at all times, but fuck if I remember what it's called. But they're basically obsidian, but they've got purple. It just looks like space. It looks like stars in it. It's incredible.
I'm Googling it.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll figure it out.
And then make a
Anyway,
staff out of one.
Hi. And then make a staff out of one. Yeah, it won't be expensive at all. Yeah, it's great fun as always. Thank you all for watching. And you can catch me on twitch.tv/Leah doing things and stuff. And I played Trombone Champ today. That was an experience. Good times. And lots of wild RP, which I'll be doing shortly, in fact. So, yeah, thank you. And I'm going to pass it to Johnny.
Hello, I'm Johnny Blams. You can find me on my channel where I play pretend cowboys if you like that sort of thing. If not, that's cool too. Today was really great. For me, it was the first time as a player where my mind was like moving way too fast. At one point, I'm just like this, and I go, and then I saw myself doing it, and I recognized that I was, because I literally lost control of my face from my thoughts. So that was nice, and I was like, Johnny, close your mouth, you idiot. Yeah, I literally looked at myself, and I went, your mouth is wide open because of that idea you just had. I'm like, Titus is not that surprised. He's also a spider, so way to smash the audience version. Yeah. Also, big, everyone was like, PB was having, it was so hard to not just be cackling the whole time. PB did absolutely amazing as this little fey creature. Big shouts to Meyer as well, because I don't think as a cast we've ever had a big lore drop scene like we did today. And for me, it was like, hey, where did Titus come from? I'm like, okay, I like this improv opportunity. So yeah, big shouts out there.
I agree.
I'm gonna pass it over to Faye. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Phelan. You can catch me. I'm really great at these, by the way. I'm also really good at them on 100 Club and any other show that I've ever been on, in case you couldn't tell. But I played Estrella today. I also, like I said before, I'm on 100 Club here on Table Story on Mondays, which is another really awesome show. It's kind of like absolute opposite, but it's really, really cool. Cool sci-fi kind of Cowboy Bebop inspired show. Yeah, on my channel recently, I've been doing a lot of like Conan Exiles RP, which has been super duper fun, really cool setting, really refreshing. But we do a little bit of everything on my channel, so if you're interested in that, it's all just Phelan on Twitter and Twitch. And that's me.
Variety
That's
is
it.
the spice of life, baby.
And all we have left is PB, or did we go through
PB.
Murgles yet? Murgles.
Dang.
Miss
I was hoping. I
Stuckles.
was like, maybe. Hello. Hello. I am Murgles. You're welcome. if you want to see me stream, I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And I'm an animator, and I'm making an animated film. And so if you're interested in how animated films get made, you can come and talk to me about that. I'm also recently been watching a lot of Lord of the Rings lore videos. So if you're interested in deep cuts of Lord of the Rings lore and just, going to school for Lord of the Rings, then you can come check me out on that as well.
Lore of the
Rings, exactly. If you want to find out what Feanor has been up to, then you can come check me out on that. But yeah, thank you for having me today. It was yes,
that's a Lord of the Rings joke.
Taking the life out of his mother. Anyway, deep cut lore. Go. What? Go Feanor. Bye.
Right. Okay. Am I it? Am I the last one?
You're it.
Yes.
Wonderful.
You're
Hello.
it.
Hi, I'm Pumpkinberry. I just want to take a second to shout out my sister Berry, because when we were little children, something that we really enjoyed doing, and I know I've said this before on maybe another episode and also on my own channel, but we really enjoyed creating worlds and drawing maps, and we're building this world together, and we had a very lovely weekend last weekend where I basically just strong-armed her and I said, what about these tiny little creatures that are kind of based off of brownie creature lore that exists in society today? Basically the borrowers is kind of what we know them as in other fantasy, and I just what if we do that, and if they've migrated, and for those of you that don't know, my sister Kindigo, who's in the credits, also did the geography for the world, where I basically was I just want a map with 3 locations or 3 different continents or whatever, and we just do a thing. And she was like, bitch, no, that's not happening. So the world is as lush and as crazy as it is because of her. And we had a wonderful experience last weekend where I called her and we kind of just took a walk through Din together. And we're talking about, she was telling me, here's what I had in mind for the geography. And so then I was like, okay, well, maybe they're from here, and maybe they travel all the way this way, and maybe these people are here. So it's been a very wonderful experience, and a show would not be the same without it. I'm PB. I have pneumonia. I'm going to cry all of a sudden. So let's just go out. Thank you so much for watching.
Can we get a round of applause for PB's pneumonia and what must have been performance high?
On her finger.
I think PB's pneumonia is definitely what we should be clapping for.
MVP.
MVP.
Okay, let's
also rate the podcast. Rate review the podcast.
Rate review the podcast, please. It really does help. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye. Bye.
So I was thinking, he claimed me and I claimed him, so I think together it should be a group effort. If we do some sort of protection spell, I get the sense that they're gonna do something crazy. Pretty please?